going. There's more song in my head. So yeah, the Swarm, lots of layered drumming. We can definitely talk about that. It's up to you. We're going to do Q&A, question and answer. Why don't we knock a couple out now, just to mix it up. This is loose, okay? This is your clinic. We're just a bunch of drum geeks hanging out. So let's talk drums. Any questions? Anybody? Anything? Yes, sir, right in the front.
I see the hi-hat pattern how you're going really fast with the, I think it was, the doubles. And
During this last song?
Yeah. And you're using, it's really fast.
Yeah, I think you're talking about this.
Do you keep like your pinky out? Like, do you reckon you keep your pinky
Did you notice that my pinky's hanging out?
Yeah, because
yeah.
my drummers told you to keep it in, and some people like tell like it's all right, but I don't know.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that. Guilty as charged. I know that that's considered bad technique, and probably on something like that I'll do it, but not most things. But for some reason, the pinky sticks out on that.
It always looks out.
Yeah, I think someone even left a YouTube comment because I used that in like the latest Alice Cooper drum solo in one of the songs, and some guy went, "Terrible hand technique." You know, what do you want from me? You know, I'm not perfect, so. But yeah, it is important to have a teacher show you if you're doing anything that is going to hurt your hands when you're playing, you know? If it works, but it's good to hear other alternatives. Maybe I'll correct that someday. It looks funny, huh?
I'll do that.
like it's like pulling a little teacup or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good question, thanks. Anybody else? Yes, right in the center.
That first linear groove that you did, would you be able to break that down and maybe?
Well, this last song had quite a few different ones, but...
I think it's the one that you started off with.
Started out, with the snares off?
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of was probably the first groove. It's one of those things where, like, there were demos, and the guitarist Jennifer, she had rough outlines of some of the sections, and so I just started playing until all of a sudden I was doing that pattern or some variation of it. And then you embellish on it, you add, and you voice. But what is that? It's weird because the right and left hand hit on 2 and 4. I'll try to do it slow here. You do it like one beat at a time. Beat 4 is left, right, left, left. Beat 1 is right, left, left foot. What's beat 2? Beat 2 is just... Thanks. I've been working on these for a long time. The idea, you know where this can start, linear drumming? Okay, first, have good singles and doubles. There's a lot of old jazz dudes, they will say, son, there's only 2 rudiments. There's a single stroke and a double stroke. I've heard that said, and there's something to that because if you don't have good singles and doubles, everything else is going to be tough. Your paradiddles and your paradiddle-diddles and your Swiss triplets and flam taps, they're all comprised of doubles and singles, so make sure that those are good. You know, one of the most basic exercises you could do would be just 1 bar of singles, 1 bar of doubles, alternate, just like this, like singles, doubles, singles, doubles. 1 bar of each with a metronome. Make sure that you're keeping it even, and that transition between the two is as even as possible. You work on that, your doubles and singles should improve. It was good for me to do that. Should have done that in the warm-up. That's a good warm-up. And there's other exercises you can do to work on your double strokes. I know a lot of drummers when they play, sometimes the first note is too accented, like so the double stroke roll ends up like this. We want to avoid that. So maybe try accenting the second note of every double. You can do this sitting in your lap right here. You can get a lot of practicing done just sitting there, like waiting at the dentist's office with nothing to do. I don't know about you, but I'm practicing. You know, I'm working on patterns and independence things, and so instead of just regular right, left, left, how about right, left, left. Very basic, but important exercise. You're focusing on that second stroke of the double stroke, the one that's weak a lot of the time. When I throw on that quarter note on the bass drum, it's actually a weird thing for a lot of people. Doing that for years, and that's a good exercise. Another one for developing doubles. Another would be like practicing on a soft surface, like a pillow, right, or your leg, because then you're all wrist. You have no choice but to use the wrist because there's no bounce. Unless you're Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's no bounce in your leg. Or this old marching band exercise. Just holding the stick here and then a trip. You get black and blue arms from doing this. But you can get a lot done building those wrist muscles that are going to control the double stroke. Because yes, the snare is bouncy, the hi-hat's bouncy. You got to control the bounce. That's the thing. You got to put in some work with those doubles. Anyways, where was I going with that? I was talking about, oh yeah, linear drumming, right? It's comprised of paradiddles and different things, a lot of doubles and singles. If those are lacking, then work on it, you know. And then when you start, maybe your first sort of linear idea could be taking a paradiddle, like accenting every downbeat. Paradiddle being right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. Then you put your right hand on the hi-hat, playing the same exact thing. And that's actually more of a ghost note exercise too, because you want to concentrate on keeping those non-accents really light, like we're talking about with the halftime shuffles. But that's going to develop you mixing the stickings, the singles and the doubles. Half bass. Daniel, what was I just doing there at the end? Daniel alluded. What was I doing with the bass drum? He knows.
Just...
You know, the groove. You're all about this. 5-note groupings. We love those. You guys know Daniel alluded? He's a very busy working drummer here in Melbourne. Killer player. Thanks for coming down again tonight. Very cool. Yeah, well, I was just playing with different bass drum patterns underneath the paradiddle. It's one of those things where you exhaust every possibility. You work out all the mathematical possibilities, and drumming is math. So if you did well in algebra, you might do well at drums, hopefully. I want to play along to another track. We'll do some more questions and answers. We'll definitely get to that. I just want to stay warmed up here. I'm going to play along to a track. This is a guy, a great guitar player, named Jeff Coleman, who I play with a lot in Los Angeles. We play at a place called the Baked Potato. Funny name, but it's a world famous little hole-in-the-wall jazz fusion club that's been there a long time. And I didn't necessarily go to music school, but I went there a lot. When I was 16, I started going there, and that was school. I was watching Vinny Colaiuta and Greg Bissonette, my mentor, Porcaro, David Garibaldi, a lot of people I've mentioned already. I was watching them play in this tiny little place. It was totally an education. So I play there sometimes with this guitar player, Jeff Coleman, and this is one of his solo tunes. This is called Sheer Drama. It's in odd time. We'll see if you can figure out which odd time signature it is. It's also in 4/4, but a huge chunk of it is in odd time. This is called Sheer Drama.